Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Break Thru U podcast. And Josh Rosales, your host. Super excited to have Logan with us this afternoon. Logan is an entrepreneur and also in the real estate industry, and we get an opportunity to have Logan come by and sit down with us and just really talk about breaking through our mindsets, right? 90% is our mind. If we can get our mind aligned right, then our body will follow. And we see so many times how entrepreneurs will fizzle out because, and they'll quit because different reasons. And so we see a high percentage of entrepreneurs that either don't know how to connect the dots. And so because they don't know how to connect the dots, they end up quitting far before success happens for them. And it's really a lot of times I find out that people quit right when things are going to start breaking for them. And it's like, if we just would have hung in there a little bit longer, it would have all happened for you. And it's just so much that goes into it. And we're going to dive into that. And Logan's going to be sharing with us some of key takeaways, some lessons learned. I mean, the mortgage industry, as everyone knows, is a crazy market right now. And with things going on, interest rates are going, values are going up. And it's just a very competitive market right now to be a real estate agent or just in business, because COVID have flipped everything upside down. And now you see a lot of businesses go out of business. You see some businesses start, but it's just a crazy time right now. So I'm really excited, Logan, that you took some time to come on and be with us so we can talk entrepreneurship, talk mindset, talk mentorship, talk self-development, talk everything that goes into being a successful entrepreneur. And so with that, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. So honored to be here. Very excited. And, thanks for asking me. This is going to be a fun time.
Oh yeah. Super, super fun. So what I'd like to do is just kind of, for our listeners, those that are going to be watching and those that are listening, if you could introduce to us and tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe kind of bring us up to speed on how you got into the real estate industry.
Yeah, totally. So like you said, my name's Logan Rhea. I'm a realtor as well as an entrepreneur. I own a couple investment properties with two of my business partners, and really I've been in the real estate industry the past 3 years, but I didn't really know about it until when I was 26, 27. And I had always started other businesses. I was actually, I went to MTSU. I'm from Georgia originally, but I went to Middle Tennessee State University, graduated with music business, minor in entrepreneurship, and kind of wanted to start my own, basically my own booking company there, and would book artists, and also wanted to own a venue at one point. Was in a band, was managing bands, did a bunch of house shows, was working as a server, and I kind of did a shotgun of everything. Something else about me is my faith, strong believer in Jesus Christ as my savior. And he really impacted my life growing up. And, the family I grew up in, they gave me a really solid foundation of faith and understanding identity, and knowing that I'm fully loved, fully accepted, fully secure, and have purpose in him, period. That's the starting point. And so then it gives me, room to fail, room to succeed, and both of those won't actually be where my identity lies. So that actually, really helped me throughout college and high school and post-college. And when I graduated, I knew that I was always wanting to do ministry. So I kind of jumped in and started helping the church plant. And as you can kind of see, that there was the entrepreneurial, right? Lots of starting things, having a hard time finishing, sustaining, but that's what a mentor friend of mine told me. He's like, in your 20s, go try things, go fail, go succeed, learn what you like, learn what you don't like. My first job out of college, I worked at William Morris Endeavor, a talent booking agency, and realized quickly what I don't want, which is a corporate job. I got an internship there my senior year and it led into a full-time job, but I was literally a administrative assistant that would float around from desk to desk, helping out these big artists and their agents and filling in for their assistants whenever they were gone. And it was crazy. It was a really toxic environment. But beyond that, it was like the wrong thing, the wrong time, the wrong person kept happening. And I'm a 7. I'm a creative. I'm ENFP. I'm outgoing. So some of the admin details was not good, not my greatest strength. And so, but that allowed me to fail in a good way. And I was actually able to build a lot of relationships and minister to those guys, but also realize this is what I don't want. And so that's when I got out, did a lot of music stuff, and was involved with the church plant. But I just grew up, I never even knew about real estate, and my dad, he's a small business owner. So I grew up, having a mindset of, he would always say, you need to find a job where you can make money in your sleep. And so this concept of, making money or getting your money to work for you was always there. But I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, as I'm sure many entrepreneurs and many realtors and investors have at some point, and that blew my mind. Getting my money and to work for me instead of me having a job, and specifically through assets that are appreciating and cash flowing, like real estate. And it was that book that a mentor gave me, a conversation with another friend who introduced me to Bigger Pockets, which is all about real estate investing, and opening my mind to everywhere around is property and houses. And that was like, why can't I get involved in that? That's something that I always challenge newer agents is, who do you guys know? Like who do you know, Joshua, that needs shelter? Everyone.
A lot of people. Yeah, everyone.
Shelter is a basic human need, so that's why I think real estate is one of the, if not the greatest industry to be in, because you can help theoretically everyone. Now, everyone's not going to want your help, but your neighbor, what have you ever introduced yourself to them? And what if they need to buy or sell, or what if their friends looking? There's just like so many doors. And so that kind of blew my mind. And so I definitely want to share a story, but I'll give a little breather there. I kind of just shotgunned a lot of information, but that was a little bit how I got started. And yeah.
No, that's good. It's some good stuff. I mean, it's I like it that of course, our identity is not wrapped up, and I think a lot of people's identity, they have it wrapped up in money, in status, in a lot of different things, and that's only temporary, right? And like you were saying, that when your identity is wrapped up in Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ, I mean, that's forever. I mean, and when you know who you are in Christ, it makes you that much secure in your identity. When and then with the personality type, and I'm kind of the same way, is like the technical stuff, the paperwork's not really up my alley. However, I can network. Like, I love to network. And so
exactly.
I heard someone say is that you got to work the net. You got to work the net. And so it's so important. And so you got into real estate in Nashville, right? And then 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, I mean, I think we were still, I remember 3 years ago, still, it was kind of right there where it's like 3.5, 4 years ago, it was still like, okay, buy the house. Like, this is still a good time to buy.
Right.
And then now it's like, I know the house, there's houses in our neighborhood that people bought for 300,000. Now they're going for like 500, 525. One house I think sold for 600. And I'm like, man, how do you even buy a house on a single income, or like how do you think outside the box? And and so it's like, I know there's a lot of competitiveness, and my brother-in-law is a real estate agent, and he's having a really good year, but still, how do you navigate? How have you seen the real estate market from 3.5 years ago till right now change?
Yeah, totally. Well, when I was first getting started, it was still booming, and exploding in growth, and and all the people that were like, didn't want to buy then. Now it's like, oh, the interest rates are really high and inventory is still really low, and it's going to keep going up. So we've seen, I mean, the market has pretty much since like 2013, 2014, 2012, it's just continuously gone up. And like the past 2 years, especially obviously with COVID, it's gone up by at least 17%, as far as houses and all that. I mean, you just gave the example, 300K to 500K.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a lot of different directions, you could go with this answer, but I guess one of the things, for the guys out there, I guess for the agents, getting started in an industry like this can be very intimidating and difficult. And I'll kind of rewind. This was the story real quick, just about identity and belief. And then I'll jump into some more statistics. But so the real estate test really challenged me. And so I'm not like the greatest test taker. And I ended up actually failing it, not once, not twice, 5 different times. And so I was working at Topgolf as a manager, and I was telling everyone I'm doing real estate, and kept failing. And, that one really sucked because, after 2 or 3 failures, everyone's, hey, like, you're seeing people like, I'm ready to buy. And like, well, still not an agent yet. And then like someone else is like, hey, I think I just decided to be an agent, and I passed, and I can go help you. I'm like, oh my gosh, like clients and friends or people I know are like falling through the cracks. That was a very challenging time. And I was kind of depressed because I was like, I'm in limbo. Like, I know I can get there. I just keep, studying and getting the tests and doing all the things. But it was like this big hurdle, and it's kind of wanted to give up. But I knew, I was like, I'm not going to be, God did not design me to be a manager at Topgolf for the rest of my life. That wasn't like life-giving and purposeful. And I also kind of felt, like I know I would be good at real estate because it's basically sales and helping people and giving value. So someone spoke life into me again and kind of challenged me and said, hey, you know what, though, you're still going. And that's how I know that you're going to be a good agent, is because 5 times greater failure is 5 times greater success.
That is so good.
Yeah. He started challenging me, and he kind of like, had the analogy of, you're going to fail a lot in real estate. And what you're doing now is just getting that muscle working to basically learn perseverance. And it's funny, man, because one of my life verses is James 1:2-3. And it says, consider it joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith develops perseverance. And, I was like, man, this is definitely trialsome. And now looking back, I'm like, that was not joyful, but I'm glad I did it, because it allowed me to, it was that much better. I didn't take it for granted when I finally got it, and I think some agents, they get it right really easy, because that's the thing with being a real estate agent. Like it's a very easy, low barrier bar to get in. Like the test was difficult, but if you're smart, I'm just not the greatest at test taking. But if you can get in and get your license, and you're licensed, you're an agent, and you pay like, less than $5,000 and you're certified, you're good. So that's the thing. Like anyone and everyone could be an agent, and then you just sell a couple houses and you're good to go. Right? Sounds really good. But that's where I'll just bring it back. Like a lot of agents end up quitting 90% after 2 years.
Yeah.
Not a great industry. Very low to get in, very easy to get in, hard to remain, hard to sustain. It's the same thing with regular businesses, right? They don't have enough capital. And a lot of times what we do is we just think, oh, we can get in, I can just sell a couple to my friends. But then, you don't realize, like, how do I navigate this? How do I, how do you handle multiple offers? How do I handle my time? What about my belief system? So I kind of like knew that statistic going in. And I was reading this book called The Million Dollar Real Estate Agent. And they basically talked about your mindset and leads, listings, and leverage were the 3 L's in the book. And I was like, well, I know I can get leads, but he really, in the book, he challenged you. It's like, your first year, you want to focus on learning more than earning more. And because you can earn a lot, and I've seen a lot of people do it, but they have no systems, they have no, no mentors, and it's basically just chaos. And a lot of realtors they are chaos because anyone can get in, and there's like 100 different ways to play the game. But I knew for me, I needed help with that, because this was like a brand, you have to treat it like a business. You're not just, oh, I'm a real estate agent. Like, this is my business. And so if you don't have a system, and you don't have like a foundation or even like your belief system with a strong why, which is even more important, right? Your identity, like, you're going to fail. Like, that's what pushed me to keep passing the test. Someone spoke life, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be good at it. This is going to be what will help me provide for a family one day. And this is going to be a lot more life-giving, a lot more, time, work-life balance. And on top of that, I want to be working till 3 a.m. at Topgolf. At the same time, opportunity. Who do you know that needs shelter? Everyone. So just kind of started to continue to feed through that. And it really strengthened my why. And so I would say the same thing to the listeners here. Like, if you don't know your why, when things get tough, you have no found. You're like, why am I even doing this? I don't even know. I'm out.
Exactly.
Versus, I know exactly why. Here's what I'm committed. Here's where I'm going. I have a foundation. I'm going to get back up. And that's what a lot of people don't do, is they fall, and they have better ideas, man. There's so many smarter people than me and you, but they give up too easy.
Yeah.
And they move on. And it's like, man, you're robbing the world of your potential and of what needs to happen, because we live in a instant gratification, consumeristic world of whatever you want at your fingertips, versus you might need to have a better system in place that it helps you sustain a strong foundation. And you might need to know why you're committed to it, so that way you have a belief system that can back up your actions when you don't feel like it. What if I actually acted and behaved out of alignment with the truth and who I am and what I want and where I'm going, into a new feeling, then that's a foundation that you can run with, and that's something you can be built on, because we're not promised, everything easy in life, and like, we're actually promised the opposite. And so it's just like, well, when the trials come, when the tribulation hits, when the recession hits, and that's the other thing, just going back to identity. If we tie our identity with what we do with our job, especially as men, then when our jobs let us down, we didn't just lose our job, we lost our identity. And that's why whenever, the crash hit in 2008, 2009, that 8 out of 10 suicides were men, because they didn't lose their job, they lost their identity, and their job was their identity. And so that's what you want to protect. Like, are you still bringing value, even if you fail, even if you get fired, even if you lose your job? And you can bring that to all these other things, even if your kids, walk away from the faith. Or are you so consumed and idolizing that your kids have to follow a certain way or a certain thing, which puts a lot of pressure on them, by the way, that if they don't, you're ruined, and that's a really hard place to be. You have to walk in surrender. And, but anyway, kind of jumping all over the identity, man.
No,
it always goes back to identity,
Exactly. You had said something earlier, you had alluded to it a couple of times, and it's mentorship. And allowing, having someone that speaks into your life, and not just being an entrepreneur, which, entrepreneurs, I think, and business owners, is very important that you have a mentor. Some people believe that you need a mentor, a spiritual mentor, a financial mentor, a physical mentor. Like, some people say that you got to have different mentors. And so, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's very important to have a mentor to speak into your life that can help direct you. And so, I think a lot of people, entrepreneurs and just individuals, they don't have that mentor. It's either they don't have, a good relationship with their father, or they don't have that relationship. So they have to go out and, you find a mentor. So let me ask you this. It's kind of like, so how did you find your mentor? And then, like, how often do you spend with your mentor, and how has that mentor or mentors really helped you along your way, especially with being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's such good advice and good questions, man. some of it really is just credit to God's grace. And I did grow up with a dad who spoke into me, and he spoke, the 3 T's of life, of learning how to steward your time, your talent, and your treasure. And, my dad reminded me, in your 20s, he was like, go find someone that's doing something that you could see yourself doing 5, 10 years ahead. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just hang out with them, buy them lunch, but go get them coffee, like give value to them. And so that was really important because, like I said, you know, that one guy, he told me when I was in the music industry, go try a bunch of stuff in your 20s. And so I did that. And I had 3 different guys that were in real estate, but they didn't start out there. So these were guys, one guy was like, he was like a booking agent, and then he did like cause a scene. His name is Larry Close. He's amazing. And he actually was just very involved in community, but wasn't making a lot of money, and it was pretty spread thin, an inch deep and a mile wide. And guess what? He got into real estate, became an agent. Now he's on part of Compass, crushing it. You've probably seen his stuff. And he's the one who sat me down, and I just got lunch with him, when I first got started. And just, he was like, look around, there's deals to be brokered everywhere. Why can't you be a part of just a little bit of that? And you get to bring value and help people. So that was really powerful. I had to seek it out though. I had to pay attention. I would go to his events and help them and volunteer. And, kind of like me and you, we met at like one of the events that Zachariah hosts with the scuba and the cigars and all that. And, and now we're hanging out. So I think some of it is being available and being aware and paying attention, because I noticed, like, he did a post on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for work. And then next thing you know, he chose real estate. I'm like, he's got a lot of similar values, a lot of similar goals. He's very similar to me personality wise. He's done a lot. I wonder why he chose real estate. So I'm just paying attention. The other guy was another booking agent in the music industry, also did ministry. And guess what? Had always owned Airbnbs and rental properties, became a real estate investor and a developer, and went that route. And so I actually worked for him for just a little bit and did a couple cold calls and was basically an acquisitions manager for wholesaling. Didn't really love that, but we've stayed in touch and paid attention, right? And continued to bring value to him. And now we've almost done a couple deals together. And the third guy who gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad, he's the one who I really looked up to, because I met him at a men's Bible study group that right when I got out of college. And this is the thing, like, you can invest your 20s or you can spend your 20s. And it's not just your 20s, you can do that with your life. Just for me, I was just thinking, I don't want to waste my life. I don't want to just spend it away. And I get to the end of my life and I'm on some cruise ship and I'm like, hey, here's the seashells of my life. Like, this is awesome. John Piper's book, Don't Waste Your Life, really impacted me growing up. And so I was like, how can I invest it? Well, I sought out other men that were growing in their faith, that were business guys, that were all entrepreneurs in some form or fashion. And they met for 2.5 years at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. every Thursday. And so I was like around those guys as the youngest guy there, as a 22, 23-year-old. And this guy, Brian Bandis, was in Love and Theft, this amazing country rock band. And he quit that band to then go do real estate. And long story short, I stayed in touch with them because of a common cause of similar values, similar family. I sought it out, but we were both growing along the same side, even though he was older, and was just available, and kept hitting him up. And he loved teaching and sharing. And I ended up joining his team. And when I said, your first year, you want to learn more versus earning more. My team gave away 50% commission that I would make. And so I wasn't making as much, but I was getting exposure. The first 3 months we did mindset training. And I also learned how to door knock, or how to go do open houses, how to do a buyer consultation, how to close, how to ask for why they're selling, come up with a game plan so that they feel comfortable. all these really basic things that now I am my own business, and I brought all those with me. And so I ended up becoming a solo agent after that, but and shifting kind of the trajectory of my career to work more so with investors, and I am an investor. But that was the three mentors that kind of helped me in that. And I don't regularly meet up with these guys. It's more of phone calls. Honestly, I've tried to do deals with all three of them in different ways, but there's a mutual respect, and I will, if I do meet up with them, because these guys are busy. They got families. They're all married. They got families, and they're crushing it. And several entrepreneurial things, several church, things that they got going on. So I always make sure to, like, I'm going to honor you. Like, let me buy you lunch. Like, I have a specific question, I don't want to waste their time, and I'll just kind of get straight to it. Yeah.
I like that, man. Everything you're hitting on is the ABCs of entrepreneurship. I mean, you talked about let me buy you lunch. You're like, I just don't want to, like, let me pick your brain. No, people don't want your brain, their brain picked. It's like, let me buy you lunch. Let me add value to you. And then also, something else that you alluded to is, you really, I call it looking for clues. Success leaves clues. And if you're really looking for those clues, and you just don't have to recreate the wheel, like, just pay attention, be a student of the system, of the game, and attach yourself. I mean, sometimes people don't want to do things for free, but you may have to go and volunteer for free. You may have to do some like, add value to that person who you're wanting to have mentor you, or just learn from them. And you may have to give up, your time, but you're not really giving up your time. You're learning so much more. But a lot of people, I think, they don't want to do things for free, or it may be beneath them. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's going to make you a much better person, and you're going to build a relationship, and you're going to have that mentor. And it's like someone was saying, there's places that relationships will only get you into that money can't buy.
Totally. Yep.
And
100%.
So crazy.
That's the thing. Like, I like chasing. It's being available and being present where you are, and it's actually this concept of grow where you're planted, right? Because if I'm always looking for this next thing or that, but you're missing out on the things that are right in front of you, then, like, you're never going to get there, because you didn't show up and be available and faithful with what has been given to you here. And so that was kind of one thing that, looking back, I think I was doing was, showing, hey, like, we're both aligned with, like, the Bible study, growing in our faith. So we're chasing after that, but we're around each other. And while I'm here, like, dude, what do you do for work? And I'm trying to learn different stuff about life and about business. And, and so, because we're, like, already in the proximity of one another, chasing after something else and aligned with those, we're probably going to be aligned with this. Here's a great example. Right before I got married, I had a trainer that trained me for about 4 months. Amazing friend and brother in Christ, and super strong business leader. You should have him on here. Is awesome. And I invited him to a group workout that me and my buddy Josiah McLeod do on Saturdays. And it's just for fun, and it's free, but, like, everyone wants to be healthy. And we're like, let's try and crush Saturday mornings. That's kind of the mindset, because everyone usually stays out late and parties on Friday, and then you miss out on Saturday or whatever. So, this guy, Stu, his name's Stu Scheidecker, he trains a bunch of other guys that are entrepreneurs as well. So what does he do? He invites another guy. So me and this other guy named Matt, we both show up to this workout. We crush it. It's awesome. We have a good time. Of course, we talk business, but we're not there to talk business. We're not there to network. We're there to do a workout, and build friendship, build camaraderie, but, like, mostly be healthy, build a workout, win the morning. Well, he's about to get married, like, a month later after that. And he's like, yo, I have this deal. I'm a wholesaler. It's about to fall through, do you know anyone that could help it? I'm like, dude, I work with investors. I have a guy up in Clarksville that would want to flip this. And we end up doing an amazing off-market deal that like made both of us money, helped my client, helped his clients. And it was crazy. And I guess just the story of that is I wasn't looking for that, but because I was available and showed up and was present in the moment, looking for clues, that would be, just a easy form of networking. And I would say that's how, is how a lot of my business has been done, through just relationship building and adding value. But like, you know what, I'm just going to go be who I am, let people know what I do, and continue to live my life, whether it's workout groups, whether it's volunteering at certain things. I did a kickball team last summer, and now one of the guys that was on our team has gotten in touch with me and wants to buy a house. Well, that's cool. Did I plan for that to happen? No, but was I available and was bold about what I do and passionate about it, and then followed him on Instagram, and then he sees me sharing stories? Yeah. Okay. And so that's like one thing, that's one of my ways I get leads and generate, is through just basically being who I am and letting people know what I do everywhere I go. It doesn't always work out, but it's just like, how can I add value to the people that I'm with? And this is my lane. I'm in real estate. So who do you know that needs help with shelter? And I just ask questions, and it usually ends up working out.
No, I mean, that's exactly how it's done. I mean, I heard it said that, when relationships are high, sales pressure is low. And when sales pressure, relationships are low. And it's like, if we can focus on just a relationship and building community. And one other thing that I've learned as well is that I love network, but when I can connect others, that is more powerful to me than me trying to network. Is let me network others, because then that always comes back to me. And it's amazing
100%.
where you could be looked at, oh, so-and-so is a networker, versus no, so-and-so is a connector. Like that, if you need to be connected to someone, go to this person. They will connect you to somebody else. And I think it's powerful to be a networker, but it gives you even more power, and just more about you when you can connect people. And I think when connecting others, you're not being selfish with your resources or who know, or no, I'm not going to share this. No, it's like, how can I share all my knowledge? How can I share all my learnings? How can I share contacts that I have with other people to help them? Because when they succeed, some people will be like, "We'll forget you," and it won't come back, but it always comes back to you. And I just see it in my own life when I'm connecting people, and you get on these different levels. When you start, like, someone was telling me the other day, they were like, because it's like, you have these levels of income, these people that are like multimillionaires, and it's like, how do you get in those circles? How do I become that? And it's like, well, on your way there, you don't have to be a multimillionaire. You just got to be in that circle, in that group. Be in the group. That's all. It's like, you just got to have connections there. And it's so important. I think it's a science. It's a process on how to do that. And so it's like, you don't have to have all the money in the world. You just got to know the people that have all the money, and connect and network and build relationships, and it'll all work out.
Yeah, man, so good. Bringing value to people by allowing them, any of the resources that you have. That's actually something I say a lot, is, not like, how can I earn the right to be your agent? But I actually said, like, hey, how can I be a resource for you? Because it's holistically too, because like we all have a lot to offer and a lot to bring, other than just the one specific skill set, and especially our network, and especially in real estate, where my job is pretty much relational. That's why I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be good at this, because I love helping people and talking to people and building relationships with people. Once I can understand, some of the skill set, the 20% that you need to succeed, and running data and looking at comps and looking at strategies, things like that, and learning how to negotiate. But the 80% is just being available and being, being a resource and connecting people. Oh, you need a lender? Oh, you need 3 different painters? Let me get some contractors out there for you. And that's one of my favorite things too, because then you're not just bringing them like I just saved this guy $5,000 because he used, this certain contractor that did the roof compared to the big company. But now he also has that relationship, which means that
Mm-hmm.
I just helped that guy provide for his family. And so now when this guy sells his house and his neighbor sees it and he's going to sell his house and he sees his roof, who's he going to refer? That guy,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was available, maybe he refers me too. And it's kind of a win-win, but kind of going back to the original theme here, right? Like just identity. Like if I'm only giving in order to get something out of you, then people are going to see that, versus giving out of an overflow and out of an abundance mindset versus like this orphan mindset. Then they cannot use me, and it might hurt, it might sting, but I'm still going to be okay because I gave out of an overflow of abundance, because I'm already content, I'm already successful. Success is a mindset, not just numbers. And so if I can start there and lose out on the deal, I'll still be okay, because I know that in the long run, those relationships are going to add up. People are going to want to work with someone that's that has standards. Just don't just get run over, but that really has their best interests in mind without any money. That truly is giving and servant hearted. That's why like servant leadership is one of the best ways. Like Jesus did this all the time. I mean, it's literally the heart of the gospel. While we were still sinners, while we were his enemy, he gave. It says, a righteous person will give to someone who deserves it, but who does it for someone who doesn't deserve it? And not to really compare that to our clients, but in a way, we can give our time and energies, our efforts, and things will come full circle. It's the principle of planting and harvesting and letting it grow and
Yeah.
continuing. Don't be, we always said we're more concerned about being relational than transactional, and you can't let the success or failure of the deal define your efforts and energy. You need to be like top of line, available and skillful and excellent with the guy buying a $250,000 condo, just like the $2 million triplex that the investor is going to buy and use you again for 3 of them, because both of them matter. And, it's the right thing to do, versus like, I'm going to push you off and only work with this guy, and
Yeah.
obviously there is wisdom to, energy and efforts behind some of that stuff. But end of the day, like, this is why I love sales. If you think about it, people are just, they're like, sales is just something you're doing to someone. But it's like, no, retraining your mindset and entrepreneurship and business. This is what I can do for someone, not
Yeah.
to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, like, I'm giving out of abundance and overflow. And so it's like, you can't lose when you're doing that, and you have to go back to that, man, because my psychologist and therapist friend said probably the number one, that they said the number one person in job industry that they see that needs like holistic therapy and help with, she's like a holistic doctor basically. Number one was real estate agents. And this is interesting because you're in fight or flight mode with your client. And this is where, like, you have to sometimes, you want to be compassionate, you want to be empathetic, but you can't always attach that. And it's hard because this is like not just a transaction in their life, but this is like the big, like, what others, who do you know that's spending 300 grand on something, right? Like, if you feel the weight of that, that's pretty heavy. And so it's like, man, this is like a $400,000 decision, and we just lost. Oh my gosh. Or just fell out of contract because we didn't do our due diligence and turns out it's in a floodplain. Or we just won and this is amazing, and holy cow, let's go celebrate. So as the agents, we're kind of like the guide or the navigator, helping navigate the seas of the real estate land. But we're with them in the ship, we're with them in the sails and the wind and the highs and the lows. And so goes back to, you got to be rooted and grounded in where your identity, where your success is coming from, knowing your why, so that when those high tides and low tides come, you can navigate it successfully, but you're not going to be distraught from it and now just totally unmotivated. And now I don't even want to get out there and, do another deal that's going to offer 50,000 over and just lose again, and
um, I noticed, and you could probably notice too, when you're talking to people, you can tell by how they talk that who they surround themselves with. And that's also, and I hear it from you as well, is like, how important is it? Because for me, it's very important to have like your spouse, your significant other, your friends. I mean, you can have a lot of friends, but you have that core group, not like 2 or 3, man, count mine on one hand, that challenge you and motivate you and will call you on your stuff and will, be there sharp. Bible talks about iron sharpens iron, and really just there for you. You're all have that mindset. How important is that for not just an entrepreneur, but just for anybody to like finish the course?
Yeah, totally. So important, so vital, right?
How do your friends challenge you? Like, share with me a little bit about how your iron sharpens iron effect.
Yeah. So I have a group, so kind of 3 different core groups, maybe. Two of them, one of them's like my twin brother, and then 2 of my best friends from high school and from college, and we all stay the same. And so we actually have, like, we call it a battle call, because life's a battle. And so we check in kind of holistically. We check in, emotionally, how we're doing, how are we leading with our lives, with our family, how are we leading ourselves emotionally and spiritually? How are you doing with your walk with God? Because if you're not leading yourself, how are you going to lead your family? How are you going to lead your business? How are you going to lead, your friends and others around? And so that's why really the most important person to lead is yourself first, and that's why, when the Bible talks about loving others, greatest command, love God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, love your neighbor as yourself. So I need to definitely take care of that soul care, which is why therapy has also really helped me in going to counseling. Personally, I did that in my 20s and I still do it. So those guys help me check in kind of like physically, emotionally, spiritually, and with leading my family, leading myself. And then we just kind of check in once a month. We do a phone call and we call it our battle call. I have a group that I meet with called my mastermind, and you'll love this. This is all entrepreneurs. And remember Stu Scheidecker, the guy who trained me for right before my wedding? He's one of the guys in there, and he's one of my lifelong best friends. And these guys, we all meet up once a week for about 2 hours, hour and a half, and we go through our check-ins, we go through our goals. And we have kind of 3 things there. It's more like professional and personal, and then more so like personal, like spiritual, business wise, things like that. So we kind of check in there, and then we usually have some type of coaching. That one gets really powerful because that's weekly, and we're all entrepreneurs. But that's what I would say, like, you have to align yourself with people that are, you can align yourself with a ton of different people. But there's a verse in the Bible, and I think it's actually I have it right here. It's 1 Corinthians 10:23. And this is like, this needs just to be a sermon, a book. It's powerful. It says, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. So is it permissible? Is it allowed to go hang out with people on a Thursday night that are going to go and drink and do your thing and probably wake up late on Friday? Yeah, you can do that. But like, is that beneficial? And once again, how do I know it's beneficial? What is my why? And so if you surround yourself with people who know their why, you can help bring them up to a higher level by saying, hey, you can go do that, but is it beneficial towards what you want? Is it beneficial towards your character? And you start beginning to think long-term, not this temporary, let me go for another dopamine hit, another high, another hang with this, another adventure. But actually, my actions have consequences, positive or negative. And do I want to be reactive and just continuously let life happen? Or do I want to steward this and be proactive and actually be more of the architect in this example, and put myself in situations where I can meet mentors, where I could bring value, and so I think surrounding yourself with people who know their why can also help challenge you and bring you up to, man, I should know my why. Like these guys, they're all working out, and that's so important to be holistically, with your diet and with your physical workouts. And so like I'm showing up, I'm like, man, I want to work out, like versus I'm just on my own and I just hope I make it and just go be healthy, and other
Exactly.
guys, so that's really important. And if once again, like we're investing in the future. So like I'm with these guys, pretty much forever, and at least for the next couple of years while I feel like God's called me to be in Nashville. And so I think consistency is the way that I do it. So, I put them on my calendar, I seek it out, I find other guys that are aligned with similar core values, that are chasing after same things. And here's the thing, man, it's fun because we don't just network together, which is awesome, but we are all learning and helping each other. And so like this guy learned about this book called Atomic Habits and like helping me out with there. And then this guy told me about this insurance plan that you could pull out a participation loan and go triple your money and invest. So now I'm starting to do that. And then this guy's over here doing a Bible reading plan that's challenging all of us to slow down more and be still and actually listen to the Spirit and kind of be centered and grounded in the morning. So now we're on top of that. So those are probably like my two main groups. One's more of a monthly and the other one's more of a weekly thing. But I try and check in with a lot of guys. Just, I don't think we're not called in this life to just survive. I think we're called to thrive. And I think one of the ways you thrive is by being available and giving life to others. And so how can I go disciple someone? Just like the guys that poured into us that we're here, and so I'm always kind of looking for divine opportunities and moments like that, and definitely not perfect at it. And I'm trying to navigate the unknown of being in a relationship now and being married, but also developing friendships, sustaining ones. It's an interesting thing, but I think if you have that core group,
Letting some go.
Yeah, exactly. Letting some go is hard,
Yeah.
especially with more of the people pleaser, right?
Yeah.
But that's the other thing, it goes back to that verse, man. Is this really permissible? I mean, beneficial. Like this is permissible, but is this life-giving?
Yeah.
And some of it is, some of it isn't. That's hard to kind of navigate. But if you're this kind of the boundaries, right? Like if you're the one who's always showing up and reaching out and connecting, like it's not really two-sided. You can be available and say, hey, maintain a relationship, but is that really who you want to align your ship with versus someone who's like challenging you and pushing you and you're not always the one who's reaching out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it said that if you're the smartest one in the group, you need to go find another group.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that is so true. Always want to be learning. And man, Logan, you got a lot of wisdom, man. You got a lot of wisdom. Everything that you have said today was like right on, from mentorship to, hey, let me take you to lunch, to the books that people say, hey, check this book out, to it's like, hey, I'm going to go do what I have to do to learn from this person because I want to be successful. And it's really doing what you got to do to get to that next level. But all in all, knowing that your identity is in Jesus Christ, because of that foundation. If that foundation isn't there, then I think we build our lives on shifting sand. That old song, and so it's man, I am so excited that you have you dropped a lot. You've dropped a lot in this podcast for those that are listening and those that are watching. this podcast. Like, you have given a lot of lessons, a lot of just some best practices. And if you could, as we wrap up here, like, what's one or two things you want to just tell those that are listening and those that are watching, maybe advice, or maybe two things that they could take with them every single day?
Yeah, totally, man. I kind of, I guess, go in, a couple different areas. One more so, once again, going back to the real estate mindset. This is more so business and just thinking investing. I think it's really, really healthy to diversify and to find not just one job, but buying and appreciating assets, something like real estate, that is setting yourself up for success through provision, through something that's appreciating and making money in your sleep. Because if you just have one job and you're working, as a bartender, and then you can't work anymore, like, that's not really secure, because now you have no income coming in. And I think there's a lot of people in America that are just kind of like getting by. And I can just challenge, hey, just slowly think about the long term, and think you can do this. You can be a business owner instead of just working for someone else, where you have something that's growing and it's building generational wealth, challenging yourself. So that's what I would say is, don't be afraid to basically take that first step in the business world, and, basically buy some type of investment that's going to, be working for you while you're not working. So, and I'd love to be able to help with that in any way, if anyone wants to talk about that. Number two would be looking personally at yourself and thinking your health is your greatest asset. So you can't go be an awesome dad, an awesome husband or wife, an awesome mentor, an awesome entrepreneur if you don't take care of your health. And so and I say health holistically, so something I wish someone had told me earlier was, counseling is not a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. It can help assess what you're thinking, why, knowing the lies, looking at your past to kind of look forward in the future. So that's been really powerful for me, and continuing to do that. And, like we said, we've talked about surrounding yourself with friends and other people that are aligned with that. But even like what you eat, and, exercise, and, drinking water and things like that, like literally just, there's so much life-giving things. I'm a better person when I'm waking up and when I work out, when I lead myself, and everyone around me is better impacted by that, And so if I can take care of myself holistically, emotionally, spiritually, getting in tune with the Lord and getting centered, getting grounded, and also physically, then that's going to overflow in a positive way. And my health is my greatest asset. Like, I want to be able to play soccer with my kids, when they're teenagers. But if I don't think the long term now, and I just live for the temporary and do what I want, that could really affect me. And then lastly,
That's true.
I would say this is the secret to life, and this is pretty much how I kind of live my life, is gratitude. Having an attitude of gratitude and contentment, thankfulness. If I have the mindset of that Paul talks about when he was writing in jail in the book of Philippians, and he was about to die, and he says this, and it's really interesting. He says, "I've had plenty, and I've had nothing. I've hungered, but yet I've also been not hungry, and but I've discovered the secret." Exactly. And
yep.
I've discovered the secret to life and happiness. I've discovered the secret, and it's learning to be content. And then he says, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength." So what is contentment? Thankfulness. That's a fruit. Joy. This is a fruit of the Spirit. So the Spirit is with me, which means I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Holy Spirit, is strengthening me. That's my foundation. That's how I survive, or that's how I thrive in every single season that life is thrown at me. And because my father-in-law reminded me of this, fight for those moments of thankfulness and contentment, because we're not guaranteed another day. And why would I waste away, complain, and be bitter and be mean and be hard and be anxious about all these things when, like, what do I have? What has God given me? I have breath in my lungs. I have purpose and value right now. This is the starting point. And getting yourself grounded and the little things that you can be content and thankful for, that's the best starting place to be, because you can't lose. You might be able to, Paul's writing this when he's about to die. And he says, I've discovered the secret, to be content in any and every circumstance. And that's got to take, you got to take that into account, because we're not over here about to die. We're not over here in jail, but we had to wait 30 more minutes for this meal or all this other, and so I just think, like, the world's going to be a better place when you are being authentic and loving people. And that's only going to come out of an overflow of being thankful and being content. And which
Man,
is really, so
that's crazy, because I was just talking to a group of young people Saturday night over at Christ Church, and I was talking to them on Philippians 4:12 and 4:13, and it's crazy how you say that, because there's so much packed into that, into those two verses. But man, I just want to thank you, Logan, for coming on, and this was an incredible conversation. So for those that are watching and listening, how can they get in contact with you?
Probably most active on Instagram. So just Logan Rhea, RHEA. And I always try and share life-giving information there, obviously real estate advice and knowledge. And then also I do a lot of funny things as well, like sharing about my life and my dogs and adventures that we're going on. So, but that's probably the best way. And then hit me up if I can be a resource for you guys. And thanks again for having me on. This has been really life-giving. I love being able to share, and thanks for kind of asking me questions. And we're all in a process, this is a journey, and it's just like one beggar giving another beggar food, and we're taking the next best step, and we just got to keep going, man.
That's right. So, that is right, man. You are full of wisdom. I can't get over it. You are full of wisdom, man. Being, I don't want to say young, but I mean,
just turned 30.
You've dropped a lot of great nuggets today, and I can tell that you're just a student of just of the word and of life, and that you soak everything in and you retain it. And man, this was a great conversation. So thank you so much, Logan, for coming on and being a part of the Break Thru U. We definitely broke through mindset today. And for anyone out there that's listening or you're watching, definitely in the real estate industry, if you're looking just for advice, you're looking game plan, get with Logan. I'll share your Instagram feed on this. And then just for advice, I mean, hit Logan up. Great guy. So Logan, from all of us here, thank you so much for coming on. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it.